Hi SSK12 students, and welcome to week 2 of the unit. So hopefully you're feeling a little bit more settled into the LMS and you're finding your way around the sites, and you've said hello in the forums and um, maybe attempted your first reading strategy on the Anderson reading. It can be a bit of a daunting experience coming to university for the first time, or even returning to university after a few years and trying to remember how to do everything and how everything works in this culture. And that's what this week is all about. It's our first real theory week, and we're really focused on university as a culture because it is a culture. It's got certain attributes to it, and when we can kind of work out what those are and understand how the culture works with its languages and specific disciplinary languages, which we'll talk a bit more about next week in communicating at university. Just understanding how the university works and how that's different from other cultures that we have been a part of previously. It can really help us to alleviate symptoms of culture shock. And you'll see in my lecture this week, that's what I talk about, the acculturation process and moving between different what are referred to as, and what North Edge refers to as, knowledge communities. So you'll see our learning objectives for this week are looking at different definitions of culture and trying to come up with our own definition of culture, which I try to do in my lecture, thinking about the idea of subcultures and disciplinary subcultures, and looking at clashes that can occur between our home culture or other cultures that we're a part of and university culture. And these ideas we get into in a lot more detail when we move into talking about the disciplinary subcultures next week with Stephen Rankin. But this week it's just really to introduce you to this idea that university is a culture, and as students within that culture, we really need to become acculturated in order to be successful in this culture. And I know that might sound a little bit like being, assimilated to the Borg, but it's not. It's not like that. Or we talk next week about becoming bicultural. It's just coming to terms and understanding that we are now a part of a university culture. And if we can see it that way, then that can ease our transition into studying at university and learning how to play the game and do things the way that we do at university. So as I said, this week's reading is North Edge, but like last week, you've also got a reading strategy. So we've got previewing and a concept map. Also got some reading discussion questions, which I'd like you to read through before you attempt your reading, because it's really going to focus your reading. Because what you can do is look at these questions like, what is knowledge, what is discourse, what is learning, what is participation in knowledge communities, and you can actually go, okay, I'm now going to look in my reading for the answers to those questions. So instead of reading without a purpose, you're reading with a really clear purpose, which is to try and understand and find an answer to these particular questions. So as I said, read through the learning guide, watch the lecture, and then go into your tutorial question. You can download the learning guide for the week, again down here. But watch the lecture and then go into your tutorial and have a bit of discussion and try and unpack some of those key terms and phrases like knowledge community and discourse communities and university culture and acculturation, and try and get your head around those terms. And once you have done that, if you're feeling like you want to do the quiz, you can do that at the end of week 2, or you can leave it to the Monday of week 3, but it is due on that Monday. So I hope you're enjoying the unit so far, and I look forward to seeing you next week.